It's Lesson 11, Science 8, and believe it or not, all the Science 8 teachers are missing you. We love being in the classroom with you, but we know that you're working hard at home. And remember, we're only an email away. Today, you're going to need a pencil, your journal slip from yesterday, and your science journal. We're going to take some time to reflect on your investigations. What patterns did you notice that would help you answer these questions? Why don't we hear from our Science 8 teachers again? Let's see what each of them figured out. Was it the same as what you figured out? You're up first, Mr. Huppert.
Hi kids, Mr. Huppert again. I noticed that to get the ball to roll, I had to apply a force. When it hits the wall, it stops. Same thing when it hit Tyler's shoe. Stop. Apply a force, get the ball to roll, and it stops. Same thing with Carter's noggin. When I roll the ball, I apply a force, and when it hits his noggin, it stops.
No, kids, again.
That must mean that the wall, the shoe, and the noggin are applying an equal but opposite force.
Very interesting observations, Mr. Huppert. What about you, Mr. Miller? What did you notice?
Okay, this is the next thing. When we drop an object, like a golf ball, as I'm dressed in my golf attire, gravity will cause the ball to fall and hit the ground and then stop. What is the reason for it stopping? What kind of force is applied to the ball to cause it to stop?
Okay, you gave us something to think about, Mr. Miller. What are your thoughts about what Mr. Miller asked? What did you figure out, Mrs. Uhas?
Hey guys, Mrs. Uhas here again. So this is what I found out. If we each applied forces to the balls and they collided, different things happened. If the balls were pushed at each other and collided and stopped, it must mean that we each pushed with an equal force, an equal and opposite force. Other times, it seemed as though one ball would hit the other one and different things happened. I think you need to investigate this yourself.
How is what Mrs. Uhas is saying comparing to your thinking? All right, I know Mrs. Ernst figured out something. Let's see.
That the marble starts rolling when the air applies a force onto the marble, and it keeps rolling until I run around to the other side. When I run around to the other side and blow in the other direction, the marble stops moving because I must have applied a force that's equal and opposite in direction to the original force.
I am starting to hear some patterns across what everybody is saying. Here's what I noticed.
So what I figured out is that when I release this, gravity gets the marble to start moving. And then it stops moving because of the frictional force against the surfaces. I also saw that it stopped quicker on a really bumpy surface like this aluminum foil. And so this frictional force must be greater than the frictional force of the smooth floor.
All right. So take a look at what you figured out for analysis question 1. It seems like to make objects start moving, there needs to be an applied force, like from an air current or even your hand. It could even be gravity. To stop moving, there needs to be a counter force from the other object, like a pushback or some type of frictional force to oppose the motion. We might sum this up by saying an object at rest stays at rest unless a force acts upon it to make it move. And an object in motion stays in motion unless another force acts upon it to make it slow or stop. You actually figured out Newton's first law of motion. Make sure you write this on your journal slip in a different color. Now, we can apply this rule to any of our investigations. We actually saw that somebody was investigating kicking a soccer ball into a net. In that setup, the soccer ball starts at rest and stays at rest, unless the ball is acted upon by an unbalanced force applied from the person's foot. Then, the soccer ball is in motion and it will stay in motion, and the ball will only stop when acted upon by an opposite force from the net. See, we can apply that first law, Newton's first law of motion, to basically any situation. Think about what you investigated. Can you apply this law? For today, submit your revised journal slip with the additions from today's discussions. If you need to rehear anything, you can always go back and rewind and listen again. Make sure your additions are in a different color. Tomorrow, we'll continue with another investigation. But until then, keep thinking and keep learning.